I think there's a moment in every great actor's career when the audiences realize that they are witnessing something very rare, not just talent but elasticity. A sense that this performer can be anyone, feel anything, live anywhere in the emotional spectrum. With Ranbir Kapoor, that moment came early and then kept repeating. Because if there's one thing that defines Ranbir Kapoor's career, it's range, almost too much of it. This isn't about genre hopping, it's about emotional multiplicity, tonal control, and the uncanny ability to disappear into one persona right after another. The kind of shapeshifting that doesn't feel like performances but presence. That's what Ranveer brings to the screen film after film. And that's also what makes him perhaps one of the most quietly radical actors of this generation. When Ranbir debuted with Sanvaria in 2007, the film didn't work, but he did. Under the weight of Sanjay Leela Bhansali's ornate visual style, Ranbir still managed to cut through. There was something instinctive in his performance, an emotional ease. Even in a film that was all surface, he gave glimpses of depth. Then came Wake Up Sid, a film that knew better what to do with his personality. As Sid, he was entitled, lazy, charming, and clueless, but over the course of the film, he found stillness, reflection, and vulnerability. The performance felt simple, but it wasn't technically sophisticated. Because Ranbir doesn't push emotion, he allows it to settle. It's that patience that makes him so versatile. Rockstar changed the landscape. It was a performance that demanded contradiction. Ranbir played Janardhan, aka Jordan, a character who evolves from a goofy college kid to a self destructive musical icon. This wasn't a transformation of surface but of soul. The way Ranbir conveyed Jordan's unraveling, the ache, the rage, the earning, was seismic. In one film, he explored nearly every shade of human feelings: innocence, betrayal, grief, ecstasy, delusion, everything. It was visceral, messy, and magnetic. And he wasn't acting like a rock star, he was one, not in effect, but in spirit. The chaos felt lived in. If Rockstar was fire, then Burfi was air. As a deaf mute man navigating love and loss, Ranveer gave a performance that stripped away language. He communicated entirely through movement, gesture, and expressions, and somehow it felt more like mimicry. Ranveer's Burfi was playful, romantic, mischievous, and ultimately heart-wrenching. The kind of performance that reminds you of how much of acting exists between the lines. It was Chaplin-esque, but without being cartoonish. It was tender without asking for pity. Again, it was a 180-degree pivot from what came before, and it worked. With Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, Ranbir found the sweet spot between stardom and character. Bunny was charming and aspirational but also emotionally avoidant, and Ranbir leaned into that contradiction. He made Bunny more than a pretty face with good lines. He gave him loneliness, guilt, and even fear. In lesser hands, the role could have been one note, but Ranbir created texture, especially in scenes where Bunny is alone, watching joy from the sidelines. He made a blockbuster hero feel small, and that was genius. Then came Tamasha, which was probably the most vulnerable he had ever been on screen up until that point. As Way, the man who was trapped between performance and identity, Ranbir delivered a performance that felt almost autobiographical, not in fact, but in feeling. There's a scene at a dinner table, the breakdown. Wade, unable to perform his socially acceptable self any longer, cracks. The moment is raw, painful, and completely unglamorous. Ranbir plays it without vanity. He looks awkward, unhinged, and scared. This is not how male leads were supposed to behave in Hindi cinema, but Ranbir didn't flinch. Jaga Jasoos, in my opinion, is one of the most criminally underrated performances in Ranbir's filmography. The film was whimsical, strange, and tonally inconsistent, but Ranbir's commitment to that role, a stammering young detective navigating trauma through song, was absolute. He performed in rhyme, he moved like a comic strip, he played that part with physical comedy, emotional sensitivity, and relentless charm. Even when the film lost its way, he stayed rooted. To take a role this stylized and make it feel sincere, that's range. Sanju was the kind of role that could have sunk many actors. Playing Sanjay Dutt, a real polarizing figure still alive and known to the audiences, meant Ranbir had to walk all the line between impersonation and interpretation. He nailed both. From body language to voice modulation to emotional cadence, he transformed across decades. But I think beyond the mimicry, he found the broken child between the tabloid headlines. He made us see Sanjay Dutt not as a caricature but as a man in pieces. It was the brava acting, technically perfect but emotionally dense, and most importantly, it was all invisible. Brahmastra marked Ranbir's entry into the superhero space, and while the film relied heavily on VFX and spectacle, his performance was grounded in emotional truth. He played Shiva as unsure, humble, and curious, the anti-alpha hero, and in doing so, he humanized a genre that often leans on macho tropes. He found awe and wonder in a role that could have been generic. And then Animal, a film that divided critics but showcased yet another dimension of Ranveer's range. As Ranvijay, he was violent, obsessive, emotionally broken. He played discomfort like a symphony. What made the performance striking was that he didn't soften the edges, he played the toxic parts of the character with full force. He didn't apologize for them, he just inhabited them. You don't have to like Ranvijay, but you can't look away from him. The true measure of an actor's range isn't variety, it's credibility. Ranbir Kapoor isn't just diverse in roles, he's believable in each of them. There are no seams, no sense of effort, he makes you forget you're watching a performance. That's the highest compliment you can pay an actor. He doesn't ask for applause, he rarely chews scenery, his genius lies in modulation. He turns the volume up or down not based on genre but on emotional logic, and in doing so, he has quietly redefined what a leading man can be. The danger with too much range, in my opinion, is that the audience can start to take it for granted. They expect you to surprise them all the time, to reinvent every time, and that pressure is very real. And if someone's equipped to handle that expectation, it's Ranbir Kapoor. Because his choices have never felt like career moves, they feel like instinct, like curiosity. I don't think Ranbir Kapoor is trying to be versatile, I think he just is. His career isn't perfect, there have been missteps, long breaks, and a fair share of criticism, but I think what stands out more than anything is the range, the willingness to experiment, to shift gears, to never be boxed in. And I think in an industry where it's so easy to repeat what works, he's constantly tried to stretch even when it didn't always land. That doesn't make him the best actor of this generation, but it does make him one of the most unpredictable, and sometimes that's far more interesting. And that's it from my side. Do chime in with your thoughts about anything that was discussed in this video down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video or if there's something you liked on the channel, please don't hesitate pressing the like button and subscribing to the channel for more of these reviews and analysis. Believe me, it goes a long way for the channel. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.